Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse, episode 373. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Matt.
Hey, what's up? How are we?
I'm alright, I suppose. It's last weekend was a really humid weekend, and then almost instantly, like 2 days later, it was like, oh, I feel chilly now, I have to put on something that isn't just a pair of shorts anymore. So that transition happened very, very fast.
Gotcha. It's still pretty warm here. That's what life in the desert's like, though.
Yes. How many things are you clicking? Stop clicking your goddamn mouse. All we've had for the first minute of this show is you clicking.
Because I'm looking at covers while you were going to do the open. Because I moved my mic around so you couldn't hear the click as much. But now it's picking up everything. This is great.
All I'm hearing is click, click, click. Anyway, everyone, this is a DC Comics podcast. Welcome to the show. We are obviously going to talk about DC books that came out this week. On today's show, we have Batman and Robin issue 1. We have Green Lantern issue 3. We have World's Finest Teen Titans issue 3. And we have Danger Street issue 9. Short list. And if you're wondering where that Batman Black Label book is, it's funny because it didn't come out digitally until today, because today, I don't know if you noticed this, Matt, but today is Batman Day.
That's why. Yeah, I got worried it wasn't on digital, but I saw it at my shop, and I didn't pick it up physical, so I'm running out of room.
Yeah.
So I messaged Pete later in the week. I said, hey, that Raphael Grandpa book, what are we doing?
Yeah, so it came out today. We'll just roll it into next week's books because I did have a quick glance at it. It does look quite good.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll just do it in next week's books. It's annoying because we have way more books next week than this week already. But luckily, I wasn't expecting this, but they actually gave us solicits in time for this week's show. So at the very least, we get to do those this week. And we can just have more books next week. So that's the plan. We got 4 books to talk about, and we got solicits for December, for Christmas season. So we'll see what those look like in just a minute. But hey, so yeah, you ever seen Columbo, Matt?
Just one more thing, right? That's the thing.
Yeah. That's he says that at the end of a lot of scenes. Yes. I just watched the first episode last night, so I was just
Gotcha.
I thought
One of my old supervisors was a big Columbo fan.
Did you know the first proper episode is directed by Spielberg?
No way. I know Spielberg directed on the show. I didn't realize he directed the pilot.
Well, it wasn't the pilot. Technically, there's 2 pilot movies, but then season 1, episode 1.
Really?
Throughout the whole thing, I was thinking this direction's really good, and it got to the end and it came up saying directed by Steven Spielberg. This was the same year that Duel came out in 1971. Right. So, yeah,
was that Murder by the Book?
Murder by the Book. That's the episode.
All right. Well, I'm adding this to my.
I thought you might.
One at least. Yeah.
Well, it's on Freevee for free, so you can see it quite easily.
There's a couple. Columbo's on a couple of my streaming services as it comes up because my wife watches a lot of true crime, so they think that old detective shows line up into that.
What's different about it is it's not a case of who the killer is. That's not the you know who the killer is. It always I've only watched one episode, but I understand that it always shows you the murder in the opening scenes. It always shows you how it happens, and then the rest of it's about how Columbo will prove it or figure it out and spot the clues. But you're always in on who the killer is.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit different in that respect. Yeah, I started like a monthly thing on Patreon where I'm going to review the episodes because they have like short seasons, but the long episodes, basically TV movies each episode. So, yeah, I was curious.
According to IMDb, it says he was just 24, and they had to have Peter Falk approve him. And so they met beforehand, and Falk was like, yeah, I like this kid. He's going places. So if you guys have issues with Spielberg's career, blame Columbo.
Well, given he's been dead for a while, he's not really there to answer for those complaints. But just a few years later, he'd made a little movie called Jaws. So, clearly things worked out.
Peter Falk knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, I've only heard nice things about Peter Falk from just whenever anyone talks about him in the industry. But anywho, that's just a slight Columbo tangent. But don't worry, we're not going to veer too off course because, of course, we must start with Matt's favorite segment. I softened the blow by giving him a little stealth Spielberg
You did.
talk.
I was wondering what was happening.
I was like, oh, I'm going to give him a Spielberg thing he may not know exists. He's going to be all excited. And then I'm going to hit him while his guard is down with the ComiXology top 10.
It's like when my parents took me to Outback to tell me they were getting divorced. Got all excited.
It's the best day of my life. Steak, baby.
I can get whatever I want. I was 11. Oh.
Yeah, so we're looking at ComiXology top 10, which is basically just the ranking of the books that came out this week. They're separated by day, so we'll look at Tuesday first, which is the DC day, and then Wednesday for the rest of the industry. So, yeah. Matt, you got any guesses for what number 1 was?
Guessing that it's Batman Day and that it was a new number 1, I'll say Batman and Robin by Josh Williamson.
It was Batman and Robin, but it's a Batman number 1. I don't think you can really be that mad at it.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
However, the content within that book, we'll get to it.
We will get to it. Number 2 is Green Lantern issue 3. Number 3 is Superman Lost. Number 4 is Teen Titans, or World's Finest Teen Titans, I should say. Number 5 is Waller versus Wildstorm. Number 6 is Danger Street. Number 7 is Batman Incorporated. Number 8 is Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo. Some books that I just forget exist when we're going through these top 10s.
What? That one's not listed on the Comic Geek, so that must be a different...
No, it's a collection, Matt. It's a trade.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so it's $16, so it's just a collection.
Okay.
Which shows you how few books are out this week, because we're already at collections. Number 9 is a reprint of Paul Dini and Alec Rossi's Shazam Hope, or Power of Hope, sorry. And then Batman and the Scooby-Doo Mysteries was number 10, which is a single issue, but that tends not to reach the top 10, given what it is. But hey, yeah, so there's nothing super exciting there. GCPD, the Blue Wall collection came out this week. That's listed here at number 13. I would recommend that to people to check out if they didn't read it as it was coming out.
If I can get some time, I'm going to visit that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good stuff. Connor praised it quite a bit as well, so I guess the double recommendation. All right, Marvel. Well, not just Marvel. Technically, it's all the industry.
Everyone else.
Yeah, but it's mostly Marvel usually. What do you think number 1 book in Wednesday was?
All right, let's see. I see 2 X books. So, but I don't know if this is an event or a new title. So, I'm going to go out on the limb and say X-Men Red 15.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. X-Men Red 15.
It was Children of the Vault. So I don't know if that's a new comic or if that's like an event.
There's actually
that's $4.
There's 3 X books actually. You're missing one.
X-Force.
Yeah. Number 2 is neither of those though. Number 2 is Daredevil issue 1, a new run by Saladin Ahmed, who I actually did read a couple of his other issues on. I think he did like some Miss Marvel, he did some Miles Morales, and they were entertaining enough. But so he's starting a new run on Daredevil.
$7.
It's just an oversized issue one, I assume. It's the John Romita name there that's more concerning to me on the art side of things. Dear. I'm glad he's not a DC.
Yeah, he's just doing a cover. It's Aaron Cooter on the interiors.
Oh, that's much better. Yeah. I just like ComiXology, because it's through Amazon now. Like they sometimes they have the cover arts instead of the actual interiors on the chart page. Number 3 is Children of the Vault. Number 4 is X-Force. Number 5 is Avengers Inc. issue 1. This is a new Al Ewing comic, so that may be worth having a look at. Number 6 is Astonishing Iceman. Just a Freudian slip, because it is an X book. Number 7 is Incredible Hulk. Number 8 is Werewolf by Night issue 1. Number 9 is Venom 25, and number 10 is our only non-Marvel book, and that is Undiscovered Country issue 25. So
wow,
there you go. Yeah. So that's the top 10. Yeah, mostly Marvel, like 4 X books, couple of number 1s. I know Werewolf by Night, they're putting that out again in color for October. Fair enough, I guess. If you want to watch that very mediocre bland special, you can do so now, not in black and white.
I liked it. I liked how it felt like a B movie.
I don't think it really did, though, to be honest. I don't think it captured that charm at all, but...
Well, when I say it looked like it was shot like a B movie, I should say. You know what I mean? Like it had that. I don't know if it had the charm that you're looking for, but it had the visuals, I think.
Yeah, it was too digital, because they still shot it on a digital video. They didn't shoot it on film. So, yeah. I don't know. I didn't really get much from it. But, yeah. There's nothing super... There's a couple of Sonic books in the top 15. In fact, Sonic issue 900? Is that what that is? Is it issue 900?
That's not even...
900th Adventure. An $8 special.
There it is.
Yeah.
That comes on. You have to scroll a lot on Comic Geeks to find that.
The Sonic comics aren't heavy hitters, but they have a very consistent audience that buy every single issue. Those Sonic freaks and the furries, they're into their stuff. So
that's where Bendis has been. And he's over at Dark Horse now.
Oh, I thought you meant so. I was like, he did Sonic?
No, there's a Murder Inc. book out.
Ah, I see. Alright, well, there's a ComiXology top 10. Nothing super exciting this week. So we will go right on over to the Solicits for December. And if you remember correctly, last Solicits, and I did remember this, week 1 of December was already mostly solicited in the November Solicits. So I've not looked ahead in this. I'm assuming that at least a week of January is going to be in this one for the same reason, because of Christmas. Yep. But we'll find out. So first up is Superman issue 9. I don't know why that's first. I guess it's something special.
I mean, Redondo art, I would say. That's we'll lead with that.
I mean, but that's not why they'd put it up to the top of the Solicits, though. Yeah, but if he's on this, though, who's on Nightwing?
I don't know. You said
that as if it was good news. It's not good news because that means he's not on Nightwing.
As a Superman fan, it's good news for me because he's drawing Superman.
But this is Joshua Williamson's Superman. This is not ideal.
Yeah, but even if I don't read the words, it's going to have Redondo art.
I would rather have the good art paired with the good writing for maximum effect.
Right. Wait, hold on, brother. Isn't this during the Beast Planet stuff? So maybe he's not doing that event on Nightwing.
Maybe he's just taking that event off. That's possible. But I'd rather he was getting ahead rather than, wasting time with Joshua Williamson.
I do feel like drawing the Superman book is something most artists would want to do, just to say they've done it. So if this is his, if he has a short little arc, I'm okay.
He can do it later with a better artist. It's not just instantly
better
good.
Writer.
So a better writer, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I meant. Anyway, so Superman issue 9, we have Kneel Before Zod issue 1, written by Joe Casey and art by Dan McDade. So, yeah, General Zod was Krypton's most notorious criminal. Now he has an entire planet to rule. But what happens when the most dangerous individual in the universe gets everything he ever wanted? Obviously, he wants more, and he'll stop at nothing to get it. In the most brutal series you'll read this year. This is not a hero's journey. This is a dark ride brought to you by the sick and twisted minds of Adventures of Superman writer Joe Casey and artist Dan McDade. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Zod book, I guess.
Sure. I kind of liked in Rebirth. We've had Zod on, getting his own little planet, right? He was popping up in Green Lantern. What was that? Green Lantern Corps? The Howling Pals? I kind of like that. I don't know if I want to like Zod the Conqueror, but we'll see. I'm gonna give it a try.
I don't think I know Joe Casey's work, so I don't have a barometer for quality here. I don't know. This is kind of a random. It doesn't. I mean, obviously they've stopped telling us when they're miniseries in the Solicits now, but this feels like a miniseries to me. But we'll see. We have Green Arrow issue 7. Looks like Oliver's back to the real world. And Amanda Waller on the covers doing the evil turn, looking over the shoulder like, oh no, I'm pissed about this.
Yep. The Justice League's happy. Even Batman's smiling, and it's creepy as hell. But Waller's not smiling.
Yeah. I mean, that's right now. I'm just kind of like reading Green Arrow to see how much of a train wreck. So if I'm honest. We have Shazam issue 7, and it looks like Black Adam is in the mix based on that cover, so that's fun.
Yep.
That's good. Dan Moore still on art there. Nice to see. We got Batman Superman World's Finest issue 22. Also Dan Moore. How is Dan Moore doing all this?
It's a good question.
He's a madman. He's a madman. We're still doing Kingdom Come stuff, which we knew was coming anyway, but just reiterating. So, very good. Then we have Titans Beast World issue 2, continuing that event. And Beast World 3 is also solicited here, which is December as well. They're both December issues, which is fine. I don't mind an event double shipping to get it over with in a reasonable amount of time. I'm okay with that. So... yeah, because that's the 26th of December, and issue 2 is the 12th. So yeah, that makes a bit of sense. We have Titans Beast World Tour Gotham issue 1. So this is a 48-page one-shot. We have Chip Zdarsky, Grace Ellis, Gretchen Felliker Martin, Sam Maggs, and Kyle Starks. I only know one of those names, but those are the writing team. So anthology, I presume, of just different things going on in Gotham during the event. Same idea with the next thing, which is Titans Beast World Tour Central City issue 1, which has got Cy Spurrier, A.L. Kaplan, Alex Packnadal, and Jarrett Williams on the art team. Sorry, on the writing team, rather. And then we got Beast World Tour Atlantis issue 1. This name's really thrown me off because I keep wanting to say Beast World World Tour. And I get that's the point, is that they're combining it, but it's thrown me off every time I go to say it. But Beast World Tour Atlantis issue 1, we got Sina Grace, Frank Thierry, and Megan Fitzmartin.
Those are all 3 names I recognize.
Yeah, although Megan Fitzmartin is not for the best reasons, I don't think. Yes. But still, I do right. Although Federici is one of the artists listed on that.
And Valentin Delandro. So far, the Aquaman book seems to be packing the most heat.
Yeah. Although, that said, it has the worst cover of the 3.
Yeah. That's why is... It seems like Mira's proportions are off, right? Like...
It says
maybe it's just the page.
It says the cover art's by Mikkel Janin, but that doesn't look like Janin to me. Does it?
Yeah, it does. But it's not Janin's best.
Yeah, her face doesn't look like Janin to me. I guess the rest of it kind of does, but the face definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
But whereas Janin did the other covers, actually. He's done all 3 of these, and the other 2 look way better.
Yeah.
The Gotham one's got Stefan Cass on it, which is cool. So
with what looks like Nightwing running towards him.
Yes. And then we got Titans issue 6, which, I mean, Travis Moore's still a good artist, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not that sad that Redondo's not doing it if Travis Moore's the guy filling in, but still. So that's obviously tying in to Beast World. And then we have Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong issue 3. It's
a 3-way dance, Michael.
So Oliver Queen here seems to be trying to take on Kong, and is that Mothra?
No, because it's got like a snake head.
Yeah, but the wings are throwing me off though. I don't know who that is, but regardless,
maybe it's a new. It's a
Like I'll give you a Matt. Oliver Queen is the one Justice League member that Kong will probably beat.
He is human. He had to scoop him up.
Yeah.
I mean, so it says Supergirl encounters Kong on Skull Island, and Wonder Woman takes on Behemoth on Themyscira. So maybe this is just one of those ones that we didn't get named in King of All Monsters, or maybe it's just a new one. I don't know.
I don't recognize it though. We got Batman Off-World issue 2. This is the Jason Aaron book that was announced last month. So that's the thing. And then there's a book where there's a title missing. It goes straight into writer Joe Casey and Dan McDade, although that's the same team as that other book.
It's General Zod. It's the same exact one. Someone forgot to erase.
They've just copy and pasted it in here for some reason. But we're missing a title for the next thing though. What's this next book?
So this is issue 2-4. So this is the Silent Night.
This is the Batman Christmas thing. Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, this is Jeff Parker with Michelle Bandini on the art. So, yes, issue 2 of 4. And this is I think weekly. Yeah, they're selling it issue 3 and issue 4, which makes sense. They all have to come out before Christmas, otherwise it's weird.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we have Batman and Santa versus the Krampus. This is gonna be great.
I have to say I'm into it, and I like Jeff Parker, so very good. We have Batman 141 by Chip Zdarsky. This is actually a week 1 January book, and there'll probably be a few of those. I'm going to be pointing them all out, but some of the ones that we already got week 1 in December of, we're getting the week 1 in January's of. So, I mean, yeah, Zdarsky's run's not exactly been scratching the itch recently, but hey. Detective Comics 1079. It's a very simple but stark cover of a cross with a sunset behind it. Obviously round view. We got art by Jason Sean Alexander on this issue. Detective Comics 1080. Same team again. Also very simple, kind of, minimalist cover. Is this rock formation that's making Batman?
Yeah, I really look like they're in Monument Valley. It's I love that. That looks cool.
Yeah. Batman's that important that there's a rock formation that just makes his shape in the desert.
That's bait. I'm not taking it.
Hey, you said you liked it. I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Talk about minimalist covers. Nightwing 109. What's his? Oh wait, why did I say Travis Moore? I was talking about Titans earlier when I was thinking.
You were.
I was thinking Nightwing.
Because you saw Tom Taylor.
I saw Tom Taylor. I saw Dick, and
and you went blind.
My thought process leaped and bounds. Stephen Byrne.
Because this is a Redondo cover, right?
Yeah, but it's Stephen Byrne on art.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the cover is Nightwing sort of diving into water, and the ripples of his swimming have made the Nightwing logo. It is very simplistic, but it's a very good, strong image. So I'm on board with it. We got Catwoman issue 60. Still Tini Howard on that.
Got the Flamingo, who I haven't seen since before the New 52. This is a Morrison addition to Batman and Robin.
It's been a while. That said, though, I'm not super fond of that cover. It's very guilty of the catsuit giving each boob its own pocket, if you will, and looks very, very stupid as well as over-sexualized. Batman and Robin.
I love it's what you call stupid. That's how that.
We got Batman and Robin issue 4. We have Batman the Brave and the Bold issue 8. Who have we got in here? Gilliam March writing and drawing a story. We have Kel Starks, Gabriel Hardman, and John Higgins writing stories for Randall Passarin, Gabriel Hardman, and John Higgins. So there's actually only one story in there that's a different writer and artist. All the other ones are all the same person doing both. So that's vaguely interesting, I suppose. Poison Ivy issue 18.
Oh no.
What? Elaborate.
It's looking like Pam's with child.
She does look pregnant on that cover.
And it does not look good because there's a very creepy hand coming towards her tummy.
She's been impregnated by a demon. We have Harley Quinn issue 35. We have Outsiders issue 2. So we'll see how that pans out. It's an interesting cover though, with the octopuses coming up to the bullet.
Apparently called Monsters of the Unknown. So
Birds of Prey issue 5. Obviously we really liked that first issue, so looking forward to more of that. The Penguin issue 5, same thing really. Penguin issue 1 was really good, so by all means give it to me. Batman 89 Echoes issue 2, and Superman 78 The Metal Curtain issue 3. So obviously those were just recently announced. We have Action Comics 1060 with Philip Kennedy Johnson on the main story. Now you get Nicole Main, Steve Orlando, and Joe Casey. Joe Casey's popped up on a couple of things. Also, this is the first time I think we've seen Steve Orlando on a DC thing in quite some time.
It's been a while.
Yeah. And to be honest, I've not really missed him because I wasn't super into most of his stuff, but worth noting at the very least. Actually, I wonder, because it says Joe Casey and Dan McDade's on the art. I've got a funny feeling then that this is going to have a backup that leads into that Zod mini.
And you'd be right, because it says the last sentence is, and Zod's son begins to suspect new Kandor isn't as peaceful as it seems in the prelude to Kneel Before Zod #1.
Look at that.
So,
got a sixth sense. Also, Constantine's on the cover with Superman, so I guess we're getting some Constantine. Action Comics 2023 Annual Issue 1, and this is by Johnson, so this is the regular writer with Max Raynor on art. So, yeah. I mean, I always appreciate when it's the regular writer on the annuals. Looks like it's doing stuff with the whole Super family, so that's cool. When's that out? That's out on the 26th, so that's not a week 5, but they're doing an annual anyway. So that's interesting. Maybe they wrote this earlier in the year and then realized there was no more week 5s left and went, shit, it's called the 2023 annual. We have to get it out the last week of the year.
Throw it out of the week of Christmas.
That said, though, would it really be that much of a trouble just to rename it to the 2024 annual? Or maybe Johnson's sitting at his desk going, no, I've already got a 2024 annual planned.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Batman Beyond Neo Gothic issue 6. Wonder Woman issue 4. We're still waiting on issue 1 of that later this month, so we don't know how King's Wonder Woman's shaping up yet, but that is a very, very pretty cover of someone doing graffiti of Wonder Woman. So that's really, really neat. Amazon's Attack issue 3. This is the Josie Campbell book. Flash issue 4. Again, that run's not started yet. We're waiting for issue... Well, not issue... Well, it's issue 1, actually. Yeah, they are renumbering it. So we'll see that later this month. Speed Force issue 2. Yeah, looking forward to the second Speedster book. And the third Speedster book, even, because we also get Jay Carrick, The Flash, issue 3.
Yep.
So, very good. Wesley Dodds, The Sandman, issue 3. And then the other Golden Age JSA style book is Alan Scott, The Green Lantern, issue 3. Oh, when I say Golden Age, I don't mean that it's in the Golden Age, but you know what I mean. Like,
no,
all
Golden Age characters.
Yeah.
That's a really cool cover with the Spectre and Alan Scott.
Yeah, it's very striking. All the shades of green really pop. It's probably the best of the covers out of those 3 JSA like tie-in books. But speaking of JSA, we also have Justice Society of America issue 10, which you know, we mentioned some Mikel Yanning covers before. He's back on this book. Because I was wondering, because he wasn't on that last issue, and I was wondering if is he just off now that the first arc's done. But it seems like he is back after. Yeah, I don't know if he's got one fill-in or maybe a couple, but regardless, we have Green Lantern issue 6. Notably, the backup by Peter J. Tomasi, a legacy Green Lantern writer coming back into the fold. Very interesting. Also, quite a nice cover on that one, actually. We have Green Lantern War Journal issue 4. This is the John Stewart book by Philip Kennedy Johnson, which, again, much like a lot of these other issue 4s we've brought up so far, we're waiting on issue 1 this month. In fact, some of these must be next week, because we've only got a couple of weeks left of the month. Yeah. We have Power Girl issue 4. We have Fire and Ice Welcome to Smallville issue 5. We have Blue Beetle issue 5. We have Danger Street issue 12, the final issue, and that is a very nice cover. It's a really simple cover. It's like a group shot of all the characters with a giant Dr. Fate helmet on a white background, but given how much of an ensemble this book has been, it's actually quite nice to see them all together like that.
Yep, I'm just trying to see all the characters so far. So that's really cool. I like that. That might end up being the cover, right, of the trade. The
hardcover, yeah. I can see that being the deluxe hardcover image. Absolutely. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. We have Cyborg issue 6, Hot Girl issue 6, and that actually says 6 of 6, so it is at least emitting some things or minis. We have World's Finest Teen Titans issue 6. We have Harley Quinn Black, White, and Redder issue 6, which does have a good cover, actually. That's a very kind of... Harley's in like an old ball gown style thing, and she's like, she looks kind of like classical, except the fact that half of her hair is red.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't even know it was Harley except for the red.
Yeah.
Right on there. But yeah.
That's neat. Superman Lost issue 9, which is the penultimate issue, because it's a 10-issue book. Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries issue 1. Wait, That's been every month for years. I guess I guess they're renumbering all of a sudden. And then we got New Teen Titans issue 1 facsimile edition, Batman 404 facsimile edition. That's the first issue of year 1 for anyone keeping track. Same with 405 as part 2, 406 as part 3, and 407.
Well, just reprint year 1 again, right?
Well, year 1's always in print. They've just chosen to do facsimile editions of all 4 single issues because they're important, they're special, I guess.
Yeah. Who's that for though? Like, who's picking up the singles?
I don't know. Collectors?
I guess. I don't know.
Clearly there's a market for these facsimile editions because they keep doing them.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's another single issue buried after these, which is Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor issue 2. So that is coming on the last week of December. Luckily, I think for us, I think it works out that our recording day is kind of like right in the middle, in between Christmas and New Year, so it probably is fine. It probably won't get affected by the holidays, I don't think. But
yeah,
I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong about that when we're closer to the time, but I don't foresee any heavy delays. So for the collections, we got Peacemaker Tries Hard, we got Batman Detective Comics Volume 2, Gotham Nocturne Act 1. That's a mouthful of a title. We have Batman Justice Buster Volume 2. We have Joker 1 Operation Joker Volume 3. I don't even know what that is. We got Superman vs. Messi.
I think it's like the manga.
Okay. We have Superman vs. Messi Volume 3. That also looks very manga-esque. Night Terrors. Oh, everyone's favorite.
Just skip it, guys.
It includes 1 to 4, First Blood, and Night Sense. So yeah, the opening and closing, plus the 4 issues, plus the free comic book day special as well. And then there's the tie-in collections. So how did they group these together? This is interesting. I'm always curious how they do this. They have Night Terror's Dark Nightmares, which includes Batman, Catwoman, Detective, Nightwing, and Robin. So all the Bat Night Terror books are in one collection. And then we have Nightmare League, which has got Action, Green Lantern, Superman, Flash, and Wonder Woman. And that's it.
That's it?
Is that all of them? I guess it is all of them.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? Wait,
no, maybe not.
Zatanna? No, where's Zatanna?
Nah, there's definitely more. Maybe they're just splitting it up over another month.
Yeah, there's no Zatanna. I don't see Ivy.
Yeah.
Was Ivy in the Batman one?
There must be at least one more. There's probably 2 more, honestly.
Trying to think of some of the other books that are Titans. I don't see Titans.
Titans, yeah. Yeah, so there's at least 1 more. There might even be 2 more in the next Solicits. We got Absolute Superman by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank.
So what is this? This is Action Comics 858 through 863, 866, 70, Secret Origin 1 through 6, Action Comics Annual 10, the New Krypton Special, and Action Comics 900.
This is a bit of a weird collection. It's like, it's like the start of New Krypton plus like Secret. The Secret Origin mini on its own, solid, but
hold on. I was just looking for numbers, but it says it's also the Absolute collects Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, Superman Brainiac, Superman Secret Origin together for the first time. So that's the first big chunk.
Yeah, they don't really go together though that well.
Superman and the Legion does, because that leads right into Brainiac.
Sure, but like then the run continued into other things, and Gary Frank's not there for that.
Right.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I guess he wasn't doing the start of New Krypton. But then again, Johns didn't even do much. He did like the first big special, and then it kind of got left to other people. Yeah, it's kind of weird. So that's a weird collect, because Secret Origin feels kind of. I mean, I guess you could say that that's meant to be the canon like origin story that goes with that run, but it still feels like an odd set, like without the rest of the run.
It's very scattershot, right?
Yeah.
It feels.
I was always kind of sad actually that run never properly finished. It just kind of like he set up New Krypton, then he left to do other things,
and it fizzled.
Yeah, which was a real shame. A real shame.
I love that. That's the Legion of Superhero story. I really, really like with Superman going, and just the way that it ends. It ends on such a note that's very, very emotional for me. So, but yeah.
We got Fourth World Omnibus Volume 2. All 1,200 plus pages of it. We have Batman Detective Comics Volume 3 Arkham Rising.
Okay.
So that's that. I think that's after the Tower. That's the that was when Mackie co-wrote with someone, I think. Maybe.
I'm looking because that's Stephanie Phillips listed there, and I think Stephanie Phillips was doing backups. So I don't think that was a co-rating.
No, is this before the Tower? I mean, it is the paperback.
I think so.
Yeah, so maybe this is like... Yeah, because they did the hardcovers first. Maybe this is just them finally doing the soft cover of the stuff that came before the Tower.
Up because it says the building was destroyed, but fear of the institution remains as the new Arkham Tower is under construction. So it's Detective Comics 1044, 1046 in the annual.
Okay.
So.
All right. Hard to keep track of these things. This is the problem when they're renumbering the trades so constantly, is that I don't even know what Volume 3 means anymore.
Yep.
Batman Urban Legends Volume 6. So, yeah, just collecting the last chunk of that, I guess. And then we got Creature Commandos Presents Frankenstein Agents of Shade Book 1. So this is Morrison and Jeff Lemire. So this is the New 52 book, right? Well, at least partly, anyway.
Yeah, when did Morrison do Frankenstein?
Seven Soldiers Frankenstein limited series. That'll be Morrison, and then Agents of Shade 1 to 7 is Lemire. Yeah. And yeah, so that's just a soft cover. That's not a deluxe or anything. So it's just reprinting that stuff so it's available. We have Icon versus Hardware hardcover. We got Maelstone Compendium 3, so 1,200 page soft cover, which basically means this. Well, that's fine for a hardcover because you have proper binding.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
For a paperback, though, it just means the spine's going to be creased to shit.
Yeah.
Monkey Prince Volume 1, paperback. Nubia, Queen of the Amazons, paperback. Static, Shadows of Dakota, hardcover. And then Flash Volume 19, The 1 Minute War. It's it's really sad that they're going to renumber this in because even the collections have kept the numbering since the start of Rebirth. They're up to number 19. And that's it. That's the end of the Solicits.
That's it. And we're good.
Okay. Well, it wasn't a super surprise. I mean, the Zod Mini was like the only real like surprising or new thing in there.
Trying to think. Yeah. Everything else just feels like comics as usual. You know?
Yeah. Which, to be fair, that's not uncommon for December. They tend not to. With the exception of when they did Winter is Coming. That's not what they called it, is it?
No.
What was it?
What was that? That was the wasn't Winter's Coming. They couldn't have done that.
Justice League
Winter's War. No.
No, it wasn't Winter's War.
No, that's a Snow White and Huntsman movie. And I had Chris Hemsworth and Jessica Chastain. What was that?
Your obsession with Jessica Chastain is... I'm going to check.
Very healthy, according to my therapist.
Endless Winter.
There it is.
That was anticlimactic, but let it be known, the event that happened like 2 years ago, whatever it was, over December was Endless Winter.
And hopefully that Silent Night one can at least be fun. You know,
yeah,
gives a little Christmas cheer.
I guess that's kind of an event, but we already knew about that from last Solicits, so it's why it doesn't really feel that exciting to find out about now. But yeah, I hope it's good. Alright, well, I guess we'll get into it then. We'll look at this week's comic books. Batman and Robin, issue 1, Joshua Williamson writing with Simone de Mayo on the art. Yeah, it's a Joshua Williamson book. That's my opening salvo.
Warts and all. Alright, so I'm going to take this as a different direction. I wasn't a big fan of the art in this. It felt,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's not bad art. I don't know if I was reading it later in the night when I was already tired, but I was having a hard time making sense of the direction of the art at times. And again, this might just be me, but it's the art seems very kinetic, and like usually I'm fond of that, but this was just like it was a lot. Like, I felt like there was a lot going on in the art, and it was hard for me to focus on any one thing.
I
you
don't.
know.
I mean, I kind of get that last part to an extent, but I don't think it ever really bothered me. I will say I really like the coloring. I think I think that
The
was
coloring's a bright spot.
yeah, that was really on point.
It's moody.
I think what was sticking out to me was how smiley Batman and Robin were.
Yeah.
Like, they reference what's going on in Batman right now. They say, hey, given what's going on with the rest of the family right now in Catwoman, you know, it's good that we're sticking together, which does line up with that book because Robin, you know, Damien's the one who stuck by his side. But the way they're kind of fist pumping and smiling doesn't feel in tone with what's going on. Like, it feels like really, like in the other book, as much as it's not, I don't think it's very good. Like, the right attitude to take with it is that this is really sad and depressing that we're fighting the rest of the family. But here they're like, nah, but father and son stick together. Give me a high five, young lads.
Just guys being dudes.
Yeah, it's weird. Also, the consistency right now of how old people are drawing Damien is all over the place.
He's either 11 or 23. Like,
there's no in between.
No, like it is. Yeah, it is. They used to do that with John too, right? But it was more towards the other end. He either 6 or he was 14. But you know, so at least they keep those together. But as for the story, there's pieces of it that I, you know, got excited for. I'm always excited to see Killer Croc, right? Because I think he's kind of an underrated Batman villain when used properly. And so here, when he shows up with all of these other animal-themed villains, I was like, okay, cool. What's going on here?
Yeah, so stop skipping ahead though, because I don't remember any of this, and I've not gotten there yet.
You don't?
Well,
that's what I remember the most.
No, what I remember the most from this book, which I read yesterday, is that Bruce is trying to get Damien to go to high school, and Damien is like, what's my mission? Like, what am I trying to uncover? And he's like, nothing. You're Damian Wayne. You're going to high school. And because all that stuff where you were on an island and you had people your own age to interact with, that actually seemed quite healthy for you. You should go to school and have friends and socialize and not be a little turd, right? Yeah. That's the plan.
So you forgot about the late part of the book. I forgot about the early part of the book. Yeah. So you put us together and, you know.
Well, that's because I think the late part of the book is the inconsequential part for the most. Like, that's just the generic comic action. The actual advancing of the Bruce and Damien relationship and the idea that we might actually have Damien now going into high school and actually progressing him forward as a character is the more interesting part to me. I also kind of like there's a scene here where Bruce gets up and Damien's like making breakfast and he's making tea, and it's this idea that he's actually learned a lot from Alfred that Bruce never learned. I actually thought that was kind of a sweet idea, is that Damien's doing things in a way that Alfred used to do, and it's, you know, it's like, oh, he's learned from him in a way that Bruce never bothered to do. So I don't know, I thought that was a nice idea. It is what it is. But once you get to, you know, Killer Croc and he's, you know, gang of animal themed villains.
Killer Croc and the Zoo Crew.
Yeah, which is the terrible trio there, although the little twist here is that they're not wearing masks, they actually have those real animal heads.
Well, they have the animal head masks on, and then Damien goes to pull off their mask and be like, you're just a guy in a mask, and the fox is actually a fox.
Yes.
So that was a fun surprise.
Yeah. Although I will say this, I don't... Like, it was going to happen eventually, but like, I feel like we did a lot of good things between a few different books of like kind of building up Man-Bat as more of like an anti-hero, and this always happens whenever we do. It was the same thing with Clayface after that great detective run with Tynan, where eventually someone just decided they wanted Clayface to be a simple villain again, and never even like referenced the fact that he had all these redemption things going on. It's the same here with Man-Bat. Man-Bat had that miniseries. He was, I can't remember what the other book was. He obviously was in Justice League Dark, but all these things built up Man-Bat to be, you know, he's progressing. He's got it under control.
Character.
Yeah. You know, we're using this to talk about someone with anger issues or even like an addiction, and we're using it as an allegory. And here he's just, you know, he's a monster again. He's chasing after Batman and Robin. He's trying to rip off their heads. Like with no... Like,
I think like Hulk, there is room for like Savage Man-Bat, right? But the story has to be there, and you can't just have him be, you know, this animalistic version again after we had, you know, like Combo Kirk, right?
It just reeks of Williamson either doesn't know that they did all this with Man-Bat, or he just doesn't care. Yeah.
Man-Bat's one of those characters too that we could just have multiple people with. I mean, it is a serum, right? Like
technically, yeah.
Right. I mean, we had Ninja Man-Bats under Morrison for a hot second. So
it just made me a little bit sad because it felt like we were just throwing away any character development we had, and it wasn't that long ago. But it feels like if you tell a story with a character like Man-Bat or Clayface, and then you go 6 months we're not seeing them, some writer will just put them in as like a generic villain again without even thinking about it, and it's just okay. They're just back to being this now with no, no regression storyline, nothing that makes them snap and like turn. Which, don't get me wrong, if they kept doing that every time, it would be equally repetitive, but at least there'd be something to transition to it.
There was a book that was out that I got behind on that was the Gotham City monster characters. And it was Killer Croc and Man-Bat. Does that ring any bells?
Are you talking about the one with Jason, where it was like the zombie, like Suicide Squad?
No, that was Task Force Z. There was another one, and I only remember reading the first issue, but it was Killer Croc, Man-Bat. I'm trying to think who else was in there.
I vaguely remember. I think that was that. I don't think that was after Task Force Z, though, was it?
No, it might have been before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't. It's not coming up on League of Comic Geeks.
Yeah.
So, but this was giving me those kind of vibes. Like Croc has this like team of misfits, and
I just Like, I get that, we can't have all of, 80 years of Batman continuity always be upheld, right? Eventually there has to be, like, cut-offs where you accept that we're in kind of a new era that's kind of going to forget what it wants to. But this character progression for Man-Bat, and then same with Clayface a few years ago, like, it got reverted with no fanfare, like, so quickly that it's like, like, you're not rewarding the people who are actually paying attention and reading your books. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So they have a big fight scene, and the art is good here. I think the faces of the artist, I will say, are a little anime at times, but I think when it comes to the action, it's pretty solid, and I do think the animal heads on the villains do look quite good. Like the fox head looks really good, so that's all fine. And then the cliffhanger is just Batman. Basically, yeah. So. One of the villains tags Batman with something, and a swarm of bats all come towards Batman. So the cliffhanger is all these bats attacking Batman, and that's the cliffhanger for next issue. So I don't know. As always with Williamson, I'm kind of mixed. Like, I like some of the ideas. I think the actual comic booky action stuff towards the end just feels, it looks good, but it's pretty, there's not really much context for it to make it anything more than just a random action scene. So not really feeling that. I do think the art overall is a net positive. I do think it looks quite good, and I do think the colors are really strong, and I think the action tends to look quite good. The faces, I wouldn't say are bad. Sometimes I complain about faces looking a bit flat or whatever. That's not the case here. They're just a little anime for my taste, so I wouldn't say they're objectively bad. It's just more my thing. And I think that's partly why Damien looks really young in this book at times. So, okay. I don't know. Oh, what else do you feel about it?
I mean, just, it's fine. I just, the art kind of took me out just because it was very kinetic, and I was, again, probably just me, though. I probably shouldn't read it late at night, where I'm having a hard time paying attention to things. But I don't know, the art, it didn't always hit with me, but I think that just comes down to personal taste. Because there's nothing wrong with it. The breakdowns are fine. It's just some of the more fine-tuning and, kind of maybe it was lettering too, of me not, chasing where the conversation was going and looking all over the page. So, but it's fine. There's nothing, egregiously wrong with it. I'm curious to see where it goes. So at least there's that,
Yeah, I guess I'm curious too. I swear I'm burdened to just keep reading 6 and 7s out of 10s from Williamson.
Yeah, right?
I know Batman. I mean, there's lots of good Bat books. I'm never burdened by all those Bat books I need to read, because most of them are quite good.
No, but some of them, you're saying, though, that's a lot of 6s and 7s.
Oh, actually, Zarsky's not doing so hot right now either, to be fair. But
yeah.
Hey, but Ramvi's doing stuff, though. Wolfram V and Hart is knocking it out of the park.
By the way, that Gotham City Monsters book was called Gotham City Monsters, and it was Steve Orlando. So funnily enough, when
That must have been ages ago.
2019. So
that's 4 years ago, man.
Bro, I thought 2019 was last year. Let's show you where my brain went.
I'm pretty sure that's before any of these Man-Bat stories I was referencing where he has redemption.
And I don't even think Man-Bat was in there. He might have been, but apparently it's Killer Croc and Frankenstein and Clarion. That's who's on the cover. So,
all right. Well,
yeah.
What are you rating Batman and Robin issue 1?
I'll give this a 7 out of 10.
I'll go 6.5. I'm not convinced yet. I like the idea of Damien going to high school, though. Hopefully they can do some stuff with that. That would be nice. All right. Green Lantern issue 3. Jeremy Adams writing, Xermanico on the art. So, there was a slight blemish on this, just in the fact that end of issue 2 did a cliffhanger get into Night Terrors, and if you did skip the tie-ins, and I didn't skip him. I mean, I only skipped the second one, but this issue doesn't like sort of answer what happened at the end of that plane or how they get off the plane. We're just we've moved on. Things are just continuing.
It gave us an anyways.
Yeah. So I think that'll be quite awkward in the eventual collection.
Yeah.
But so it starts off with a little flashback. This is back when, so we've been getting these flashbacks each issue of like when he got his powers back, and the ring's failing him and he's fallen. It's a gorgeous page, this full page spread of him falling above the clouds as the sun's rising, and he basically has to like try and just like get his willpower to make the ring work. He's just trying as he's falling to his death.
Effectively, he has to jumpstart the ring with his own willpower, which I like because it's reestablishing Hal as this guy that has a different relationship with his will than some of the other Lanterns, right? So he gets this mystery ring that keeps shorting out on him. It won't let him leave like the planet, right? Like it's when he's getting up into the upper reaches of the atmosphere that it kicks off. And then instead of having like to charge with the battery, he's able to kick it back on by just force of will.
Yeah, obviously the last possible second before he splats on the ground, as you'd expect. And then he also notes that it works more like Abin Sur's ring, where he can make constructs that aren't just green, because he does a green one, and then he does a pink one, and then he actually makes one that is pretty much lifelike. We can still tell it's a construct because it's got a green glow around it, but it's this deer that has actual, fur, colored appropriately, all that stuff. To the point where a cheetah, whatever it is, comes out and tries to eat it, and then Hal makes it 10 times as big.
Massive,
and the cheetah shits itself and runs away.
So that was a thing that I wasn't aware of. Like, I know the Green Lantern ring has done many things over the decades, right? Not realizing that.
Well, hold on. Before you say anything, I've got a pretty good sneaking suspicion here that this whole Abin Sur's ring could do this, and that made it special. I've got a funny feeling that was a retcon later on to explain all this stupid shit Hal did with it in the Silver Age.
That's what I was going to say, because Jeremy Adams is a student of the game in the way that Johns was, right? So I could see him taking something like that and canonizing it. But finding that out, and again, that's what makes this ring unique. Like it's able to phase shift the colors, right? That's why it's able to mess with the frequency, and that's why the color changes and whatnot. And it's also, to me, taking it away from the emotional spectrum, which I feel like we need a break from.
Oh, sure.
So, so to establish that Hal can do other, not just green constructs with this ring, but kind of make holograms. I think that's a pretty fun twist on it.
I am fine with visual trickery. Where I draw the line is when he makes a construct that can do something. Right? So he should never be able to make a flamethrower that actually fires real fire. Right. That's where I draw an absolute line there. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because how does Alan Scott's work then? Because this is the green flame. Right.
Well, yeah, but that's a green flame. That's
okay.
Okay. That was just my example. Okay, how about a bomb that actually explodes? No. He can make the shape of a bomb. He can make it look like a bomb. He can even simulate an explosion with it, but he can't just leave and let it blow up. Like it's not going to. It's not a working. I always go back to the T-1000. He can make knives and stabbing weapons, but he can't form complex machines that actually function and do things. You know.
Right. Which is ironic because he himself is a complex machine.
Hal? No. He's not complex.
No, Hal definitely anything but complex, as we see later. That boy cannot take no for an answer.
No. He's a simple boy.
Yes.
So we come back to present day, and Sinestro, who we know is around, storms into this skyscraper to speak with these two bigwigs, and it turns out they're aliens who are here in hiding. And Sinestro, well, first of all, he tries to threaten them with the power of the Legion of Doom, and my reaction to this was like, Sinestro, what are you talking about? The Legion of Doom's been gone for ages. And sure enough, these aliens say, wait a minute, the Legion of Doom's not exactly a thing anymore, Sinestro. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, so, Luther's in jail. Who knows where the rest of them are? You're here. You're looking like a bum.
Yeah, although I will say, this hologram that he pops open of the Legion of Doom, punchlines like right next to Lex Luthor, and I'm like, come on now. Let's not pretend she's like up there with, the whole point of the Legion of Doom is that it's mostly the nemesis characters from each of the heroes. Like punchline, like I don't care about her being on the team, but let's not pretend she's in the main seven, if you will. I
feel that was just a shout out to Tynan from Adams, right? Or Xermanico, maybe. Who knows?
I'm just I mean, I suppose technically I don't see a Joker, so maybe she's there to replace the Joker, which I guess makes sense, but still. But basically, he wants to get a team, and he blackmails them with information. He's basically like, "I'll tell the Justice League if you don't do what I say."
Well, not just the Justice League, but whoever these aliens are, they're part of a bigger thing. Right? He's like, "You don't want me to run and tell them that you guys are messing around here, right?" So yeah, they decide to work with Sinestro instead of against him.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not so much that he's going to tell them. He just says that telling that the heroes will lead to them finding out, because they're here in secret, not only just from Earth, but also whoever they're running from, whoever, So they basically give him a team, and it turns out to be like King Shark. Is that the Shaggy Man?
I have to relook. I read this early in the week.
There's an octopus and then a green dude. I didn't recognize the green dude and the octopus. I might not even recognize it. Yeah. King Shark's the only one that stuck out as being really one that I knew for sure. Which does lead to a great panel here. So basically, Sinestro's using this team to break into Ferris Air. For unknown reasons. We don't know why he's doing it. And we don't even really know by the end of the issue why he's doing it. But there's a great panel of just security guards' legs sticking out of King Shark's mouth. And that gave me a good chuckle. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So, all good. But yeah, he breaks in to where all the jets are, and we don't see what he does. He just smiles and says "perfect," and that's the end of the scene. So we don't know what he's done, and that's still up in the air for the rest of the issue. No pun intended. So Hal's at a baseball game, pitching for some kids. And he kind of manipulates the ball a little bit so that the kid who's batting hits a home run.
But who has no confidence. His name's Stewie. So, Hal kind of gives him a softball so he can look cool in front of his friends, which I like. That's a very Hal Jordan thing to do.
Well, it's not just a softball. He literally changes because it's a construct ball, and he literally changes the trajectory at the end so it'll hit the bat properly.
That's what I mean by a softball. He gives it to him right where it's gonna hit.
I know, but a softball is just something anyone could. I'm just saying it's specifically using his powers to make it. He alters the path so that it'll hit properly. So sure enough, he hits a home run. It's a whole thing. But Carol texts him and says they need to talk. And Hal, being the idiot he is hoping this is her begging to get back together, because of course that's what Hal Jordan thinks. And I think my favorite thing about this whole issue, honestly, is that when Hal shows up at the airbase and he gets on this jet with her, and they sit down in their seat, she whips out the security footage of the airbase and says, "Hey, 3 of my employees were killed last night, several more were injured," and we see this digitized security footage of what is clearly Sinestro. And my favorite thing about this issue is how the tone of their conversation and Hal's attitude completely changes once he sees that Sinestro's around and involved. Because the way he sits down next to her, he stops flirting, he stops making jokes, He just promises that he'll find him, and then there's a moment of silence, and he says, "I'm sorry." And I felt that weight in the conversation. It's like, okay, this was all fun and games, me trying to win you back, but I'm not going to pussyfoot around here. This is serious that he's here, and let's face it, I agree with you. This can't be a coincidence that he pops up right after I came back. So, like, this is something that I have to deal with. And my only complaint of the issue probably is that it ends really abruptly after this. You know, like Hal's at a bar, and Sinestro just shows up and says, "Hello, I hear you're looking for me," and that's the end. Like, that feels too sudden to me, given that Hal just found out he was around. But it's a minor quibble in the grand scheme of things. But it's the only thing in the issue that I don't really like that much. Everything else I was quite into, but I really like that conversation on the plane.
Yeah, because everything, as soon as he shows up and he's like, "Hey, where's Nathan, who's her new fiance?" And then she says, he's finishing up the deal with the Pentagon. And I was like, "Oh, great, we got contracts. You're doing contracts again. This is awesome." And she just kind of has to snap him out of his little Hal Jordan charm fest, And then that's when they get up onto the plane, and he sees that footage, and Sinestro, with whatever laser gun he has, looks right at the camera before he takes it out.
And she points out as well that nothing was taken. Like, nothing seems to have been stolen. So, I mean, I guess the assumption I would have is that he sabotaged some of the planes or something, or he wanted to see something that was on the plane, like flight record or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
It was definitely sending a message somehow, right?
But I think, like you say, Hal shows up and he's turning on the charm. It's almost like one of those scenarios where someone shows up and they're cracking jokes, but the other person is about to tell them that someone's died. And obviously the tone has to change once that information comes out. That's what this felt like. But here, the purpose was to sell you that Sinestro being here is a big deal. And as far as Hal and Sinestro stories go, I've basically not seen anything with those two connected to each other since the end of John's run, because I wasn't reading Green Lantern Corps. I was reading Green Lanterns during the early Rebirth. I wasn't reading the other book. So I'm excited to finally get back to that and see what they do with it here. I hope it's not just a straight Sinestro's being an evil. I hope it's a bit more complex than that. Which I trust Adams probably is doing something more complex than that.
Yeah, because the thing I do like about Sinestro is I'm not a big fan of the constant need to rehab villains, right? But the fact that Sinestro used to be the Green Lantern and he believes in order so much, right, is that you can talk to him into doing like heroic things and not being that dictator version, right, that we see. And the guy that overtook Korgar. And just the fact that he's kind of like this fallen mentor for Hal, and that when they team up, they can do good things. So I'm hoping that's what more of this is. I'm hoping Sinestro has a plan, and the plan's not to be dastardly, right? He's not twirling his mustache. He's actually trying to cause some type of change, and he is going to need Hal for that.
Yeah. Although he was letting his goons just kill people, so like it's not like his hands are clean either.
No. But that's the type of character Sinestro is. He's like, you gotta break a couple eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah. It is interesting. I'm curious to see what they do with this. It's a shame we had to take this 2-month break right after issue 2, but I did enjoy this issue. Like I say, him showing up to talk to Hal that quickly did feel quite so. Like, I almost wish it just ended on the moment after the "I'm sorry." Like, I know, I know it's a page or 2 pages early, but like I almost think that would have been a better ending, and then you could start the next issue with Sinestro just showing up to talk to him. That would have worked better for me, I think, than doing it the very next page.
We could have filled those bar pages with Kilowog. Like, what's he up to? Living out in his trailer.
Well, other than cheering at the baseball game.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just give a little character beats there.
Yeah.
And also, like, nothing against Philip Kennedy Johnson in this story. I don't hate having the backup, but I kind of just want more of this Green Lantern story without the backup.
Well, yeah, we're on the backup now. To be fair, though, I actually like this backup the most of the 3, because this one revealed some context that was missing up until now. So you've got John Stewart in this all-green kind of version of him with this rookie Green Lantern, and the rookie's narration is basically, this is the best, I grew up wanting to be John Stewart, he's the best that ever lived, all that stuff, and he's fighting this evil bitch.
The
What's her name?
Radiant Dead.
No, what's the woman's name?
The Revenant Queen.
Revenant Queen, the leader. So he's fighting her, and she escapes, right? And then this Jon Stewart turns to the other guy, and they basically explain that she just escaped through the multiverse to a different universe. And this is where we realize that this isn't the future. This isn't like our Jon Stewart in the future. This whole story that we've been seeing that we've not really understood that much is actually an alternate universe, because the little cliffhanger here before it cuts to our Jon Stewart is that, hey, you have to go through and find this other Earth and find this other version of me, because wherever the Revenant Queens went, she'll be going after that Jon Stewart. She'll go after him. And that's when it cuts to Jon Stewart like on a call with Guy, talking about, trying to be there for his mom, and the fact that he's still kind of like, she can tell that he's missing the stars, that he's missing going off and being a Green Lantern, but he's trying to be there as she's like in her sort of final years. So I actually really like this in the sense that I like what it's set up, even though it doesn't necessarily make up for all the kind of like dull fighting that was happening before that I didn't really understand. But
I feel if that was like a one shot, or that was the issue 0 of the War Journal, I think it would have read a little bit better.
Probably, yeah.
These chunks.
If it wasn't split up into the 3 chunks, yeah, that's probably true. It still probably wouldn't be amazing though, but I think this ending, because it defines some context and sort of solidifies how the John in present day, which turns out to just be John in our universe, how he connects to the rest of the story now, which is the truth is that he doesn't yet. Like, that's what's going to happen in the main book. I think that's made me more excited for this story, and now that we have this context, the good thing about it is that when the Revenant Queen shows up, or this like alternate Earth Green Lantern shows up to talk to John, John's going to ask all the questions that we want to ask. He's going to say, who are you? Where are you from? Who is this evil Revenant Queen? Why is she a threat? We're going to get all those answers now, because our Jon Stewart's going to have to ask all those questions.
Right, he's just as blind as we are.
So honestly, I think this story is probably going to be quite good now. It's just that this 3-part backup was a bit weird, and it was hard to get into it because it was kind of holding its cards close to its chest. But that said, I do think this 3rd part was easily the best one, because it clearly set up what this is going to be. It made me more excited for it.
Yeah, the idea that Philip Kennedy Johnson's playing with the multiversal villain for a Green Lantern character, I can't think of any others. So that makes me excited to read. Like, a lot of the Green Lantern stuff has just kind of been all playing in the same sandbox. So the idea that he has this, the Radiant Queen who can create the Radiant Dead, it's almost like this zombie horde type villain.
Also such a different thing that's going on with Hal, which is really nice. It's like, he's fighting, John's going to fight a multiversal enemy that's got these sort of necromancy powers, and Hal's dealing with Sinestro and like staying in Coast City. I love that they're going to be so different. This has made me really optimistic about this book that's about to start with Jon Stewart. Obviously we trust the writer because he's very good on action, but this has made me really, because I think the issue is that the first 2 parts of this, and even half of this one, are basically like, if this was a movie, they would be the opening scene where you'd get a little bit at the end of a war, and then like the villain would escape, and it would be like, okay, this is like the prologue scene to what the actual story is. But splitting that up over 3 like little parts just made for a really confusing, hard to remember. It
over-serialized a serialized opening, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But it makes me excited. Like, I was kind of on the fence. Like, of course I'm going to pick it up because it's Philip Kennedy Johnson. But I was kind of on the fence about, like, okay, am I going to feel this? But with this one, how she gets away, and then the fact that I think it's the Jon Stewart of that Earth saying that she left her ring, right? And then it shows like she's using her old ring, and it almost looks like a Sapphire kind of logo.
Yeah,
right?
maybe this is the Starfires went bad on this universe or something.
Right. And there's some tie to that, right? So when it hits us, it's still going to be a mystery, because it ends with John and the construct guy looking into the stars, and you get this purple star, right? And it's that ring, seemingly. So it's also Johnson playing with the whole idea of like an epic story, like an epic poem kind of deal too.
Yeah,
So
it's always so
I'm
funny.
excited to see where this goes.
I think what's so funny is if you condense this into just two parts, like two backup parts, and you cut out most of the stuff that was the fighting, and you had part one was just all the stuff that was with John and his mum for the first two parts as one part, and then this one you just see the end of this fight. There's a few pages, and just because I feel like I didn't really learn much in those first two issues when it came to like the stuff with the fighting. Everything I learned from this last part. So have that, and then what's actually in this here, where it cuts back to John and Guy talking about how he's struggling. That would be enough. That would be like, that would set up everything. I feel like it's suffered by having to stretch that fighting stuff over 3 parts. But yeah, feeling pretty optimistic about this new book now, actually. So
yeah, me too.
That is good. So what are you rating Green Lantern issue 3 overall?
I'm gonna give this overall an 8.5.
Okay, I think I'll just go to straight 8. But I do really like a lot of it. I like the art. Xermanico, like I say, that first page of Hal falling through the sky is gorgeous.
Yeah.
But well, this has been the best of the backups because it did sort of like give it context and make me excited for the book that it's leading into. It still wasn't like super fulfilling, and I think it still maybe dips it down a little bit. And like I say, the ending did feel a little abrupt to the main story, so I'll just go with the 8 out of 10. But I did like a lot of the things in there. Especially the Hal and Carol conversation, I thought was really, really good. It really sold how much of a serious big deal Sinestro is, and I think that's really good and smart.
Yep.
So, cool. World's Finest Teen Titans issue 3, Mark Waid writing with Emanuela Lupacchino on the art. So, this is Titans Con. We ended last issue with them all being excited. Well, except Robin, of course. Dick's not too thrilled about it, but they all go to Titans Con unannounced. The book opens with them saying how all the fans are going to freak out because they don't know we're coming. And basically this issue is Mark Waid making fun of conventions for like 2/3 of it.
Of like con culture.
Yeah.
Right?
It's basically people try to skip lines, and everyone like one of the first things that's said when they land is one of the speech bubbles from the crowd is, are they here for Saturday or Saturday and Sunday?
They only have tickets to Saturday, or they only have tickets to Sunday, something along those lines.
Yep.
But yeah. So the whole con culture thing, I think, is hilarious. As well as the Waid writing. That's kind of hard to say. Waid writing, like the youth speech is still a little bit off for me. Right? Because
do you know what? I think the one thing that stuck out to me is that at one point, Bumblebee says that, or so someone, no, they're talking about Bumblebee, and no, that is Bumblebee. Sorry, I'm getting confused. So basically, Donna Troy's been whisked away by all her fans, and Bumblebee says to Garth, you better be careful, and he says something. He's like, no, I don't mean that. I mean all these horny fans that are around.
Yeah.
And I was like, that felt weird, having just one of the characters talking about everyone be horny.
Well, it's like this. Yeah, it says, you better watch out for your lady, Garth. And he's like, she can take care of herself. I meant in a sea of good-looking, horny fans who do not ship you two. And that was the one I was like, oh, man.
That felt a little bit like, an older man's trying to sound hip.
Yeah. But, the stuff at the panels where everything is kind of overwhelming. And all of that.
The panel is Donna basically she gets dragged to this panel about her, and then the panel turns into being, is she like a hero or is she just this like was it Pixie Dream Girl, I think they said.
Manic Pixie Dream Girl, yeah. And people are taking sides and stuff, and she's trying to speak and they're not letting her.
They're basically debating if she's actually a person or just some male fantasy, and she's just sitting there. It's very meta in a lot of ways, but it's this idea. I think the reason why it works and doesn't feel cheap is because yes, it is meta, but it also works in the context of if you become a celebrity or just a persona on the internet. And people start talking about you start to get talked about not as a person, but as just a character in their lives. And I think it works in that context as well, and in the context of the universe as well. So that's that stuff's good. For me though, the stuff that I really liked here was was Dick. You know, he isn't there. He's with Batman.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how he understands why they're kind of drawn to the cheers and stuff, because, you know, he was in the circus. He kind of longs for the roar of the crowd. He remembers what that felt like. But what I really liked about this, though, is not only are we advancing that storyline, but later on when he eventually shows up to help save the day and lead them when they're in battle, I love that there's a nerd dressed as like in a really crappy Robin suit who's disappointed that Dick's not there early on. But when Robin shows up, he's like in the panel looking up at him like he's his idol. And I just thought it's like he doesn't say anything in that scene or that panel. He's just looking at him, but it made me laugh because it was like, okay, there's just like a nice through line. It's same as well when Roy is showing off with doing like tricks with the arrows, and Wally switches all his arrows around, so he ends up setting off the wrong thing. He covers all the fans in oil instead of setting off fireworks. Yeah. And there's just a random voice at the back of the crowd going, "Robin should keep you in line." And because Roy's been the one who's been like clashing with Robin constantly throughout this book so far, that really made me laugh. But the main plot, once it gets going, though, is that there's actually a very creepy fan who thinks he's in love with Bumblebee, and shows up and is basically, you know, he's touching her arm, he's saying that, you know, he understands her, he's calling her doll. And when Wally tries to sort of interject to sort of like, you know, help her get rid of him, he starts using powers to fight them, and he basically turns all the various collectibles and toys into large versions that start fighting the Titans. So there's like a large Donna Troy that's fighting the real Donna Troy. There's a Batmobile chasing down Wally, and it's somehow going just as fast as him because it's magic, I guess, is the answer to that.
And that's what he says. Yeah, so we get a clip of this guy. He's got like a long scarf, and he's like, it looks like practicing magic, looking at like runes and stuff on his computer before he leaves.
Yeah, see, when we first saw him, I thought he looked kind of like, is this young Toy Man? And the fact that they keep calling him Toy Boy. So I was getting the impression maybe he is Toy Man, but Toy Man doesn't use magic for these things.
Toy Man doesn't use magic, and Toy Man's name is not Sherman. Right?
Yeah. So it was reminding me of Toy Man, but he's not Toy Man.
And I think that's the point, is because this is we see where he'll go when we get to there. There's a subplot going on, but the fact that he's using magic and he's living with his mom, and she's like, "Don't forget to do whatever." He's like, "Yeah, whatever, mom. I'm going off." Right?
Let's be honest. He's an incel. That's what this character is. He's
yeah, and it's because of his actions with Bumblebee and all of that stuff. I thought that was, like, despite being real creepy, what Waid was saying about like parasocial relationships and it going back into what Batman's trying to tell Robin about, you guys are out there too much. You gotta pull it back because you guys are heroes. You're not celebrities. Yeah. You know, like you have to do a job and stuff. So I really like how he tied that together. And Batman, doing this Toy Boy character.
Yeah, and Batman's worried about the secret identities, of course. But Dick says, yeah, but isn't it good to have us out there letting them know that we're there? So they know that we'll show up when they need help. Isn't that important too? And yeah, that's it's a classic debate between, like, it's like a Batman Superman debate effectively.
Yep.
But yeah, when Dick shows up, he starts giving out orders, which, you know, make them win the fight, because he's like, no, you're focusing wrong. He's using his hands, so tie his hands together. He swaps people around in terms of who they're fighting. B gets to punch the guy because she's earned the punch, and gives him a harsh lesson. So there's a couple of epilogues here at the end where Dick is talking to in my head I keep calling him Hawkboy, but was it Golden?
It's Golden Eagle, I'm gonna call it. There's a Hawkman, Hawkwoman, Hawkgirl. Why can't he be Hawkboy?
He's Hawkboy. That's effectively what he is, even though he doesn't use that name. But he points out that Dick is the only one who's not going home. Like it's almost like there's trouble at home, and he doesn't want to go back and face Batman. And Dick sort of like ends this scene like sitting down in the dark, and it's kind of sad. It's like, so the idea of this tension's building, which is a classic Teen Titans thing. This idea that he's eventually going to choose to break away and become Nightwing. So it does make me wonder: is Waid going to tell like his version of that story throughout the course of this book? He might.
Yeah, I think it would feel earned too, because we're seeing him constantly clash, and it is kind of that teenage where you clash with your parents, where you think you know everything. right?
Uh-huh.
But as he proved here, Batman does have a point of all of this, and if they had listened to him from the beginning, they wouldn't be in some of the problems that they're in. But it's also reestablishing the whole. I forget what book it was from, but I think it was a retelling of that story where Dick's like, I'm tired of being the back end of Batman and Robin, right? He wants to be Batman with Robin at a certain point, and that's that whole teenage wanting relevance relevance in their own life. He wants a sense of agency, and so him telling that through here, like that panel of him sitting there in the dark by himself, right? Everyone else has gone home, but he's kind of dreading it. He doesn't want to go back and face Batman. And again, it's another very youthful type thing.
That makes me think of like when either someone doesn't want to go home either because their parents are abusive or because the parents are constantly fighting, so they don't want to be around it. Now, obviously, we know that's not exactly what's happening with him, but it conjured up images of that in my head because that's what it made me think of.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. The final epilogue is this shadowy figure showing up and freeing this villain from the issue.
Toy Boy.
Yeah, Toy Boy. And basically saying that he's inviting him to join the Terror Titans. Now, the end of the last issue did have like a figure in like the trees watching the Titans as they got on their jet. I'm not sure if that's meant to be the same character. There's this, but it probably is. The only reason why I'm doubting it is because here he's got a really smooth head, like he's bald, but in the last book he kind of had like, it was like he had hair in the silhouette. So I'm not sure if it's meant to be the same character, but
remember too, at the end of the first issue there was that henchman for Two-Face that also got picked up.
That's right,
Yeah, and it was the same kind of vibe as this one, because this guy looks terrified, right? Like, yes, he got freed, but whoever this person is, it seems like they have electrical, you would think electrical powers, right? From the lightning coming off of there. And it's like he tells them, you have potential, you're part of my team now. Where he's not even giving him a choice.
Yeah,
he's just saying, I got you out of, that. So, but looking up, there has been a Terror Titans, I remember was it from the Johns run? Or it was around the Johns run, and that's where we got...
The idea of Terror Titans is not new, although when I looked up DC Wiki for something, it did note down that this character is new. This is a first appearance.
Yeah.
So
of Toy Boy, yeah. So that's what I'm looking is there was the original members were Clock King, Dreadbolt, Copperhead, Persuader, and Disruptor, right? And then of course Ravager. But that was part of a different story. But yeah, so I mean, this is something I'm sure wholly new. But the fact that with the electrical powers, it does make me think this is Dreadbolt in some form coming in. So, but yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Lupacchino's art too is fantastic. The expressions, we talked about the distraught Robin, everything before the bad stuff happens at the con. Kind of the goofy looks on all the Titans' faces. Like that scene where Wally switches the arrows on Roy, just his kind of look away. Hey, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, which comes back up during the fight as well, because he goes to get another arrow and he ends up using like a mop arrow. Like, why do you even have a mop arrow anyway? Why is that in there?
Yeah.
But that's a good comedy beat during the action, and I really like the scene where Dick's talking to Batman, and then he sort of imagines he's in the circus again for a minute and does like a jump, because it just sort of like really flowed nicely and sort of gave this idea that he's living in a memory right now as he's talking to him, and just a way that felt very natural. Like I can almost imagine a scene in a movie where the character is just walking through the room and it turns into the memory, and then they walk back out of it as they're finishing their story. It just gave me that kind of vibe, which is kind of cool. But yeah, they are really good. Nothing to complain about. It's a solid issue. I've been enjoying Teen Titans. I'm enjoying what it's building to, because it's had kind of a clear this conflict with like Dick clashing with the others because how he does things differently as a leader, because of how he's been trained by Batman. That sort of push and pull has been very well focused on, and then obviously you've also got this building of the Terror Titans now, kind of sort of accumulating.
Well, and now that you say that too, it is kind of like, it's almost like he took the lessons here and applied them to the new Teen Titans when he becomes Nightwing, right? When Starfire and Beast Boy, Cyborg, Raven, they all show up. It's like, I learned from the first go around, and this is how he can do things different. So I like that Waid's playing a little bit with that as well.
Yeah, that's true. He's not
So,
technically he's not meant to become Nightwing until after the new Teen Titans are a thing. So maybe Waid won't do that version of the story. But then again, if he's
he's played with the timeline so much.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he'll still
as long as he
with it.
executes it well. I don't mind.
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me that much. But it is worth noting that technically that didn't happen until the second incarnation of the Teen Titans. So what are you giving World's Finest Teen Titans issue 3?
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Yeah, I can agree with that. 8.5 sounds good to me. And then we go on to Danger Street issue 9, Tom King and Jorge Fornés. And of course, last issue, it felt like we were building up to this Clash of the Titans. It was building up to Manhunter versus Codename Assassin. And did I even speculate that the entire issue might be just their fight? Did I say that? I don't know if I did, but
I don't think so. But if you did, I don't think you thought it was going to be a philosophical
no
conundrum that is super dense and takes a while to read.
I mean, if I didn't say it, I wasn't surprised. Like once there was a few pages in, I was like, oh wait, this is going to be the whole issue. This is going to be just them debating as they fight.
I definitely spoiled myself to see how long the fight was going to go, and saw the end of the fight before. However, I was still shocked by the turn of events because of what they're saying and what actually goes down in this fight.
I think first things first, though, we have to point out this is the only issue of this book that is not started from the Helmet of Fate talking to the reader. That's just not here,
Despite being called Dr. Fate in Chapter 9, Dr. Fate.
Which is funny because it's the only issue where he's not, referenced or in at all in any way. But so basically they're fighting on a rooftop, as the cover would imply. It's a gorgeous cover as well.
Oh my god!
And they basically, it's basically them debating who's got the advantage, what the rules of the fight are, and kind of. So Codename Assassin is basically saying, "I've got an advantage here," and Manhunter's like, "How so? Explain." And he's like, "Well, your goal is to kill the Commodore. The Commodore, right, for the Green Team, and that means you have to win, right? So because there's 3 outcomes to the fight: either I die, you die, or we both die. So the only way you can achieve your goal is if you live, which is only one of the 3 outcomes. But my goal is just to kill you. So even if I die too, I've still won."
The odds are in my favor.
Right.
And all I have to do is beat you. You have to do so much more. So that's where they start getting onto that philosophical, as they are fighting, which is a cool type thing. I was getting kind of Highlander vibes.
They start fighting, and they're kind of just going back and forth, where he's like, but if you have this advantage, then technically, I can't even remember how it went back and forth the entire time.
So they're talking about, too, he's like, well, if you have the statistical advantage, then by me, defying the odds, that means that a tie cannot, you by winning by a tie doesn't necessarily mean you win, because you already have an advantage, and that's kind of like cheating. And their codename is like, well, there's no cheating in our line of work.
Yeah, well, it gets to that, but it also gets to the idea that, well, if you have an advantage and you're part of the reason why you want to win is because of pride, because you have to know you can win, can you really accept that pride if you come into this with a 2-to-1 advantage of how to succeed? And so it goes back and forth like this. Like, this is a very dialogue heavy issue, because it is them debating back and forth about the rules of the fight and what constitutes a victory and what would satisfy either one of them as a victory. And that's so much. And so we get about a third in, and Assassin gets knocked down, and it's like, okay, how about we have a parlay, and we take a rest, because obviously we're pretty evenly matched. This
is gonna go on all day. Let's take a break. Let's regroup. Chug some water, enjoy the sunset.
Because at one point, Codename Assassin basically says, because one of the arguments that Manhunter has is that, well, if you die in a tie, you're trying to tell me that's an equal win for you, but it's not really, because all that money he's paying you to kill me, you won't be able to actually use, so you're not really getting the success. And Assassin's rebuttal to that is that, yes, but money can, inheritance, it can go to people that I care about, it can go to a family, my name and money can live on. And Assassin's like, in our line of work, we don't have families, that's bullshit. And he's like, Yeah, you're right. We don't. Like, so it's this back and forth. So it's kind of like a witty back and forth, but it's like they're both speaking very like proper, and they're both like trying to outsmart each other. It's.
I'm not gonna lie, it was a tough read for me, right? But you know what got me through is knowing that if Connor was reading this, how much he would hate it. So I was like, oh, because as soon as I was finished, I was like, man, this was dense.
It was, it's definitely dense, right? But
yes.
I think it's a really fulfilling issue because even if you don't take in every little thing they're saying to each other, the back and forth like gets to the point where I almost started laughing at some of the outcomes to some of these things, where like when they have this parlay like halfway through and like they go and sit at the edge of the roof. And they start just talking about who they are and how they get into this. You know what? Manhunter's talking about the first time he killed someone and how all that training's led to this. Assassin's talking about his first kill. And I really liked actually that they're sort of taking swigs of this whiskey. And it's when he passes the flask that it becomes Assassin's turn to tell his story. And he does. And it's all this very pleasant thing. And Assassin... you know, he still thinks he has the advantage. They still have to do this, but he claims he's not a narcissist. It's not about ego. And Manhunter's like, you know what? We only care about the outcome. We could fight for ages. Let's just toss a coin. And whoever loses has to jump off the roof. Let's just do that.
And I love that Codename Assassin's... No, I have the advantage. I'm not giving it to a coin flip.
Yeah,
We're not doing this.
Yes, I have a 2 and 3 advantage right now, and what you're proposing is 50-50. So that is actually worse odds for me. And
we're almost at Steiner math, bud.
And this is where Assassin shows off his telekinesis powers, and he starts like floating the coin, and then he floats Assassin, and he holds Assassin out over the edge of the building.
Manhunter.
Sorry?
You keep
flipping, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Assassin's holding Manhunter with his mind over the end of the building, and basically says that once he closes his fist, he will drop to his death. And even whilst he's floating out there, like Manhunter's still speaking and sort of debating, like, is this really a success for you? Does this prove anything? Is this a victory? You know?
He's like, I knew you had telekinesis, and I was wondering when you were going to get to use it. So you were having an advantage. Of course you're going to beat me.
Yeah, but
and Assassin's like,
I'm counting on your hubris and not being satisfied that you're going to win that way, that's going to stop you. And then he closes his fist, and we get this great page where he's fallen to his death, and the Assassin like starts talking to the Commodore in his headset, and he's like, update. And the Commodore's just complaining about being hungry and wanting to go get fries with different sauces, and Assassin picks up the coin and decides just before Manhunter hits the ground that he's not happy with this. So he holds him in place and he tosses the coin that was left up there. And basically this is decided that he's going to bring Manhunter back up to actually finish the fight properly. So he does. He brings him back up. And Manhunter never acts scared. He never acts like he was worried that he was about to die. He's just like, no, I knew you'd want to finish the fight. So now we continue.
Well, I like before he drops him too, Codename Assassin is like, we were evenly matched. A tie is a win for me. You're at a disadvantage, yet you knew I'd cheat. And in relying on the cheat, I'd lose. You're very clever. I like you. Right? So he's just like, okay.
It's 4D chess. It's 4D chess, and I love it.
Yeah, well, I like, too, that he's kind of like, I like the cut of your jib. I owe you, if we're going to kill each other, I owe you a good death, not dropping you, Well, that's kind of what makes it click that he can't just let him fall, right?
Yeah.
And then the Commodore, whining about fry sauces kind of sets him over. He's like, what am I doing with my life? I deserve a good death too.
Yeah, and basically, I think they both realize this is the first time they've ever met a mutual who has a similar experience to themselves. They've never met someone who's grown up being an assassin like they have.
Right.
So there's this kind of weird respect that's happening as the fight continues. But of course, just before it's about to start again, Manhunter throws his sword at Assassin and impales him, and he's like, well, did I just break the rules? Because technically we didn't say the parlay was over, but we never we had like an assumption of rules. We didn't really settle on a contract.
We never shook on it, right? And now he's kind of becoming the dirtbag, but
now he's kind of cheating.
like, well, no, well, and cheating was always going to be a part of it, right? So, is it cheating if you're expecting to cheat? If both sides can cheat, is it cheating?
And now we're at 5D chess. We're going to be at 6D chess in a minute. And
just the fact when he throws it like that, all I could think of was Charlie yelling "wild card," right? Like.
And so Manhunter walks over to Assassin, who's crawling towards his sword that he's dropped because he's been stabbed, and Manhunter picks it up, he holds it above his head, and just as he's bringing it down, Assassin pulls the sword that's in his stomach out and cuts off Manhunter's leg. And this is the point when they're both lying there in pools of their own blood, where I went, this is like an absurdly gory version of that fight from They Live with Roddy Piper and Keith David. That's what this is. And it's at this point where I started finding it funny. And I don't think it's unintentional. I think at a certain point you're meant to see like
how absurd all this violence is, right?
It's like a really intentional contrast between how smart they're trying to sound while they're talking to each other. And just how downright absurd the violence is, and how they're still trying to fight when one of them's been stabbed in the stomach and the other one's hobbling on one leg.
Well, they're both known as the Knights, right? That's what the Helm of Fate calls them.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So this also goes into that where like the idea of a knight is this warrior, right, that goes out and fights for the person or for the side, the realm they represent. But in that war, they're going to do unhonorable things or dishonorable things. And so this kind of just doubles down on that, which I didn't think of until just right now.
Yeah, and Manhunter throws himself at Assassin, and they both basically stab each other again here, and they're lying on the ground, and like sort of there's like a vignette effect where it's the light's shrinking, and basically what's happened here is they both die. They're like it's a little bit ambiguous, but they're effectively both in the afterlife, and the debate keeps going where Assassin's like, well, I won because it was a tie. We both died, and therefore you didn't kill the Commodore, so I succeed. And this is where we're at 7D chess, because now Manhunter's like, aha, but I knew this was a possibility. I let you think you had the advantage that if it was a tie, that you automatically win. But I have made allies. I have joined a team since the last couple issues, and they are going to finish the job. Now you're liege, or whatever you want to call the Commodore, he is now unprotected, and they're going to kill him. And I started laughing at this point because I'm like, ha ha ha, we're both dead, and you thought a tie would be your victory, but no, I won because I already thought of this.
Yeah, turns out what you thought was my goal actually wasn't my goal at all. My goal was to kill you, so therefore I win. But right, like.
Yeah, but what's wild about it is that this kind of sort of leads to this like sense of respect where he's like, I'm sorry about your leg. And he's like, my failure to protect my limb is not your problem.
Yes. Would you like your sword back? Also, Manhunter using the sword kind of as a crutch. There's that where he says everything hurts. I also, to bring this to a little bit of wrestling, it made me think of Jon Moxley, right? Like he's just covered in blood, and he's holding himself up on a weapon, right, to keep this, not facade, but just to keep that image of this, kind of barbaric way of life, and it was very, very funny.
Yeah, and I think the inclusion of the coin and the idea that maybe we'll just end this with a coin toss is the idea that these two people they're fighting on the sides they're on because of fate, but they could easily just be switched around, and like he could be protecting the Commodore, Assassin could be the one coming after him. Like it's just like fate. It's the toss of the coin is what's put them on the paths to some extent that they're on. I think that's partially why that's such a heavy theme in this issue. Yeah. But it's funny because it's like, even right at the very end, like Assassin's still trying to say that he's kind of like won ultimately because he's figured out Manhunter's whole shtick. But yeah, so I don't know, it's good. They're still questioning what winning means in the context of this, right to the very last panel, and then the final line is heads or tails because he's going to toss the coin again to see who won. And basically, it's the perfect if you want to give us a fight where no one ever truly wins because there was never because they're equal matches. Like this issue did that perfectly.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was thrilling at points, but it was definitely funny and very thematically kind of interesting to read. And they did a good job of building to this, so it felt like an ultimate big showdown. So I will agree it's a little dense and wordy in places, and there's so many speech bubbles that my eyes did sort of gloss over a couple times whilst trying to read it. But overall, I would say it's a really strong issue.
Yeah, and Fornés' art too. He has to work with so many boxes, right?
Oh yeah.
And what I like best about Fornés is the way that he's able to put a lot of detail into a small area, right? So like in the Rorschach book, right? We would have these, big pages that we could hyper focus on certain things in those. And here he kind of does the same thing because it never doesn't feel like an action scene, even though it's not like super dynamic layouts. It's still, grid patterns. And if I'm looking at it, there's not a lot of variance here.
No, every page is an 8-panel grid. It's that idea that they're evenly matched, so every single page is symmetrical as far as the panels are concerned. And not only is it an 8-panel grid in every single page, pretty much, well, maybe not when they're fighting per se, but every single time they're having a conversation, it's literally all the Manhunter panels are on the left and all the Assassin panels are on the right, like throughout the entire book.
Yeah. So it's very well made. I didn't think about that until now, too, because I got so caught up in what was being said versus how it looked. And that is pretty genius on their part, on their creative's part.
Yeah. Even when Manhunter's fallen to his death, they still devote all the panels on that side to showing you him falling, whilst Assassin's on the other side talking to Commodore. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only real complaint I have is that I did miss some of the other characters by obviously not having them in this issue, but this was the right choice to focus on this to such an extent. It made it feel like a special issue. And I love that, you see it in movies sometimes where like, the two people who are about to fight like sit down for a quiet conversation first, and there's this like shared respect. I'm thinking like some of the John Wick movies kind of have this. I was getting kind of vibes
even
of that.
in Heat, right, with Pacino and De Niro sitting at the diner.
Yeah, there's like a sense of respect because they can see how like sort of wise and skilled the other person are, and that it's a formidable foe to go up and do battle against. I dug all that a lot. So it really made me care about these two characters who I don't really like. I remember Codename Assassin from some of the Superman stuff. He was a backup character. I mean, that basically goes for every character in this book though, right?
No, I know, but like I don't know, because like Metamorpho, right? He was a character early on.
Sure. You can say like Metamorpho and maybe like
Starman,
Orion, but come on now, the Dingbats, Lady Cop, you didn't care about any of these characters before.
Up until that, I didn't know those characters existed, right? Codename Assassin and Manhunter both are both characters that I am aware of, but had no thoughts on. Right, my Manhunter is not this Manhunter. It's not Mark Spector. It's the lady one, the lawyer, right?
Yeah.
That's the Manhunter that I came in reading. That's who I associate with the name. So the fact like we got the story of these two warriors, having this philosophical debate as they are trying to kill one another, and it made me care about both of them, and kind of sad that if that's it, right? They both died, and now they're in this purgatory because of all the bad things they've done, but they're there together. It makes me kind of sad that that's the way that they go out.
Yeah, obviously we didn't talk about literally every little thing they said, but there was a little bit of the conversation in the middle about where they're heading to when they die. Yeah. That was sort of brought up in the middle. So, it's a special issue that I think feels unique, and I love that King and Fornés chose to do it this way. Because even if it isn't perfect from like a reading from page to page kind of thing, I can appreciate the artistry in it, and I think it'll read better as well on a repeat read. I think when you read this a second time, it'll just flow really well.
It is so dense, and I'm trying to read and take in everything they're saying, and it's a lot. And at points, it reminded me of the end of Matrix Reloaded with the Architect and Ergo vis-a-vis. I mean, it wasn't nearly that bad in a name, but man, there's so much in there.
Well, no, because the conversation here was good for a start.
Well, that's what I mean. But that's the only thing that I can, compare it to that first came to mind. But yeah, but when I said it was dense, like for Connor to jump in there, and go, oh, like a Tom King comic, it necessarily was. I wasn't saying it was bad. It was just I felt like I went through an experience reading it, and if that was what Fornés and King wanted, then mission accomplished.
Yeah, they wanted this fight to feel like an experience from start to finish.
And that's how I feel, right? I felt like drained kind of towards the end of it. And like again, I came into this thinking like I don't know if I like this one. Maybe this is the first one. I'm not going to give, the full marks, but thinking about like stuff I didn't even pick up on, like the panel breakdowns, right? And how they're evenly spaced out, and the way that they are, it's all 8 panels across the way. In my head, some of them are bigger, but they're not.
This is Thanos' favorite issue.
Yeah,
it's perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
As all things should be. And what did it cost them? Everything. Yeah. So, Oh
dear. These King Prestige books continue to be some of the highlights of the past few years.
Yeah.
And obviously we got Penguin now. We got his Wonder Woman run coming. We'll see how that does. But Danger Street has been exceptional, and it's been very different from his other books as well, which has been really nice. So, Matt, what are you giving Danger Street issue 9?
I think I'm gonna give this a 9. A 9 for the 9.
Yeah, no, I'm giving it a 9 too. Like, I love the idea of doing a bottle issue where it's just the one fight taking the whole time. I think that's, like, if you've built up to it the way this has, I think that's the perfect choice. It is a little dense, it is a little wordy in places, but I think, like, the absurdity of it and how much they were talking to each other became really funny the more I read it. And it fit into it.
When you made the They Live reference, it clicked. I didn't think of that initially.
Yeah.
But it is just so, it goes so far beyond what we would expect that it starts to be funny.
Yeah, it's that, but it's arguably more verbal than it is fist fighting, because they kind of stop but the fight continues in words, and then they keep going. Yeah. So, all right, there you go. That's the book. So that'll take us out of the part of the show where we pick our favorite stuff for the week, favorite panel/moment, favorite cover, favorite art in the top 5 books, or top 4 in this case, because it was a lighter week. So what is your panel/moment, Matt?
I do like Manhunter standing with the sword and missing a leg, using it like a crutch. Also, Manhunter throwing the sword was a good moment. But mine's gonna be from Green Lantern, and it's the opening where Hal's falling, and he's trying to piece together. He has to jumpstart the ring with willpower. I thought that was really solid, a very key mark or hallmark Hal Jordan moment.
Yeah, I'm actually also going to go with Green Lantern. I'm going to go with the conversation with Carol when they realized Sinestro's involved. I thought that was handled very well. The only reason why I'm not picking something from Danger Street is because honestly it's hard to pick one moment, because it is just one big scene. Like, there's not like one panel where I'm like, oh, that's the moment of the like it's all very even. So that's my pick. Cover of the week. I haven't really had a chance to look at them properly yet, but
because we this was for the first time in a while we've read everything the same.
Well, it was easy when there's only 4, but I mean, honestly, it's probably the regular Danger Street cover, because it's just a building with the lightning strike with these 2 little silhouettes fighting on top. In fact, not only that, the lightning's like making the title like shatter, which is just so that's gorgeous. If I'm glancing at the rest of them though, just to see what else is here,
Green Lantern has some good ones. There's a Doc Shaner that's very much will be the if they ever do like Green Lantern and the Silver Age reprints, I could see Shaner having this one. And then the Gabriel Rodriguez, it's got Hal with a purple jet behind him with the orange sky. Just the way that the colors pop in that one. I really enjoy.
I think it's just Danger Street for me, I think. Do you know, there's a cover for Teen Titans which I think is almost really good, but Donna's face is just the one that's kind of letting it down. I think it's the Dan Panosian cover, where it's this sort of beautifully painted thing, and they all look great except Donna, who looks like she's she looks like a cartoon character from like, I don't know.
There's Benny Rebel vibes a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
like the rest of them all look really moody and like it's like a really serious Titans cover, which admittedly is not really the tone of the book per se, but
no, but it also looks kind of like Norman Rockwell, like the way that the shadows and the colors are working together. But yeah, also go ahead.
I was gonna say, but Donna just sticks out as looking like she doesn't fit with the rest of them.
So Shaner said, I saw when all of the solicits came out yesterday. Shaner had said that he has designed all of his covers to actually make one big cover. So not like a triptych kind of thing, but the way that they're positioned, they're meant to go together for a cover. And he hopes that he's able to put them, to layer them all so you can see the image. And he gave the image of what it's supposed to look like. So hopefully maybe if the first, collection of it will have that cover. But as much as I like his covers on this, they are kind of, a lot of white space.
Yeah.
On them and stuff. So.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, top or best art of the week we're on.
Do I want to be controversial and not give it to Fornés, and give it to Xermanico or Lupacchino? I don't know.
We are a little spoiled for art this week because like all three of them on a regular week could take it. Yeah. I think the subtleties probably mean Fornés just takes it, but Xermanico was really good this week, and Lupacchino was never a slouch. But I think Fornés probably takes it still this week.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking you're talking about it's a whole scene that takes place over the issue, and it's hard to find those moments because it's hard to find one singular moment because there's so many good ones, right? I'll go Danger Street on that one.
Yeah.
Too.
All right, well, rank your 4 books.
All right, so number 1, Danger Street, 2, Green Lantern, 3, Teen Titans, and 4, Batman and Robin.
Well, number 1's Danger Street, number 2... Number 2, Teen Titans, 3, Green Lantern, 4, Batman and Robin. So pretty similar. I just swapped 2 and 3, but they're pretty close to be fair. I mean, honestly, for a week with only 4 books, it was actually a pretty good level of quality.
And we were talking about the art. Imagine if we had Raphael Grandpa.
I know.
It would have been spoiled.
But we'll have that next week. But speaking of next week, I'll tell you what's coming next week. So we'll be looking at the Batman book that came out this week from Raphael Grandpa, because it came out digitally today, and we just didn't have time to fit it in before the show. So that'll be in next week's list, along with, not that we do all the books, but this is everything coming out next week. We have Nightwing 106, we have Batman Superman World's Finest 19, Superman issue 6, Titans issue 3, Catwoman 57, Wonder Woman issue 1, we have Batman Presents White Knight Generation Joker, we have Hot Girl issue 3, The Vigil issue 5, Cyborg issue 3, Green Lantern War Journal issue 1, and Harley Quinn Black, White, and Redder issue 3. So pretty busy week. We got a couple of issue 1s that are definitely worth checking out. I'll probably still read Catwoman for the Batman crossover. I imagine I'm probably out in Hot Girl because I didn't really like issue 2 that much. So
let me know if you don't get to it because that it won't be high on my priorities.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, Wonder Woman and War Journal I'm looking forward to, and
World's Finest.
Yeah, Titans obviously is a Nightwing or obviously
Nightwing.
Exciting.
That Nightwing cover looks like something out of my nightmares, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well there you go. But yeah, that'll wrap up the show pretty much. Let us know what you thought of your books this week in the comments or on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast or on the Discord. You can support the show by going over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and supporting over there for whatever amount per month. $5 and up you get early access to the show whenever it's ready on the Saturday night. It varies a bit just depending on how long the show runs, when we started recording and all these other factors. But it'll be there for you on Sunday morning before everyone else has to wait till later in the day. So thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics. And remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.